Does your cat truly love you, or are you simply the victim of a 10,000-year-old neurobiological heist? Have you ever wondered why a creature that weighs less than a gallon of milk can force you out of a deep sleep at 5 a.m. with a single vibrating sound? Today, we are stripping away the cute and looking at the cold, calculating science of feline manipulation. I promise that by the end of this video, you will never hear a purr the same way again. We're going to unlock the solicitation code, a specific frequency hidden within the purr that bypasses your logic and strikes directly at your primal instincts. We will explore how cats have essentially hacked the human brain using a sensory glitch that makes their demands indistinguishable from those of a human infant. Meet Leo. He is an intelligent, rational man with a career in technology. And this is Nova, an orange and white tabby who possesses no degree, no job, and yet completely controls Leo's circadian rhythm. Why? Because Leo isn't just a cat owner. He is a biological subject responding to an evolutionary command. The myth of feline indifference. For decades, the prevailing narrative in popular psychology was that cats were indifferent. We were told they were solitary hunters who simply tolerated our presence for the sake of consistent calories. But recent breakthroughs in cognitive ethology suggest something far more sophisticated. Cats aren't indifferent. They are highly observant social engineers. The problem starts with a fundamental misunderstanding of the domestic contract. While dogs evolved to work with us, cats evolved to live among us. This subtle distinction created a need for a different kind of tool set. If you're a dog, you de-escalate anger to stay in the pack. If you're a cat, you exploit the human nurturing instinct to ensure your environment remains optimal. But here's the catch. To exploit an instinct, you first have to understand the target. For years, skeptics argued that cats didn't even recognize their own names or their owners' voices. We felt like we were shouting into a void. However, the indifference theory was officially dismantled by a landmark study that changed everything we thought we knew about the feline mind. The socio-spatial map. In 2023, a study published in the journal Animal Cognition, led by Dr. Saho Tagagi, often associated with the groundbreaking research at Kyoto University and the University of Tokyo, uncovered a biological smoking gun regarding how cats perceive us. Tagagi and her team tested what they call socio-spatial cognition. They played recordings of owners' voices from different locations to see if cats tracked their invisible humans. The results were staggering. Cats don't just recognize your voice, they maintain a complex mental map of where you are at all times, even when you're behind a closed door. When the researchers teleported the owner's voice, playing it from a speaker in a location where the owner couldn't possibly be, the cats showed intense physiological surprise. This proves that Nova isn't just sitting in the hallway staring at a wall. She's running a real-time tracking simulation of Leo's movements. So if they know exactly where we are and who we are, why do they ignore us? This is the agitation phase of our story. They ignore us because evolutionarily they don't need to obey. They need to manage. By choosing when to respond and when to remain aloof, they maintain a social leverage. But when they do decide to interact, they don't just meow, they deploy the Purr Hack.
This brings us to the core mystery, the solicitation purr. In a foundational study that has been recently re-examined through the lens of modern neurobiology in Nature 2021, researchers identified a Trojan horse sound frequency. A normal purr is a low-frequency vibration, usually around 25 to 150 hertz. It's calming, it lowers our blood pressure, it signals safety. But when a cat wants something, usually food or attention, they transform this vibration into a solicitation purr. They embed a high-frequency, discordant cry within the low-pitched rumble. This embedded cry sits exactly in the 300 to 600 hertz range. To the human ear, this frequency is almost identical to the cry of a human infant. This isn't a coincidence, it is an evolutionary masterstroke. In the 2021 mammalian auditory research, scientists found that the human brain possesses a pre-wired sensory lock for this specific frequency. When Leo hears Nova's solicitation purr, his brain doesn't process it as a cat is making noise. Instead, the sound travels directly to the amygdala and the hypothalamus. It triggers an involuntary spike in cortisol, the stress hormone, followed by a mandatory urge to nurture. Leo literally cannot ignore the sound. His brain is telling him there is a distressed infant in the room. Even if he knows, logically, that Nova is perfectly fine and just wants a second breakfast, his biological nurture mandate overrides his rational mind. This is the Purr Hack in its purest form. It is the acoustic equivalent of a cat reaching into Leo's brain and flipping a caretaker switch that Leo didn't even know he had. The caudate nucleus and the planning of manipulation. Now, let's take this a step further into the realm of advanced cognition. In 2024, research published in Animal Cognition by Dr. Kovacs and colleagues from Etwas Laurent University provided a fascinating insight into feline executive function. They studied the caudate nucleus in cats, the part of the brain associated with reward processing and goal-directed behavior. They found that cats possess a high degree of anticipatory logic. This means Nova isn't just reacting to a feeling of hunger. She is planning the interaction. Kovacs discovered that cats can calculate the susceptibility window of their humans. They know that a solicitation purr deployed when Leo is fully awake and busy is less effective than one deployed when he is in a hypnagogic state, that half-awake, half-asleep zone. By targeting Leo in his most vulnerable state, Nova maximizes the oxytocin spike that her purr induces. This is where the payoff comes in. When Leo finally gives in and fills the bowl, he feels a wave of relief. This isn't just because the noise stopped, it's because the task assigned by his brain's nurturing center has been completed, resulting in a dopamine release. The cat has essentially trained Leo to feel a reward for obeying a command he didn't even realize was a command. It is a perfect closed-loop system of biological manipulation.
The tactile blackmail loop. But the hack isn't just auditory, it's also tactile. You know it as kneading or making biscuits. While we view this as the ultimate sign of feline love, science suggests a much darker, or at least more functional origin. This behavior is a phylogenetic regression. In the wild, kittens need their mothers to stimulate milk flow. It is a survival-based tactile signal. When an adult cat like Nova does this to Leo, she is deploying a secondary regression hack. By performing a behavior that is biologically reserved for a mother-offspring relationship, she is reinforcing the caretaker role in Leo's mind. It's tactile blackmail. It forces Leo's brain to view her as a permanent infant, ensuring that he will continue to provide resources and protection long after a natural biological weaning period should have ended. In Nova's world, there is no such thing as growing up. There is only the constant maintenance of Leo's nurturing protocol.